Hey all, and in this video I'm going to be testing out a few decks and going over the general Slayer strategy I use. Now this is an Immortal Killer event. Unfortunately I don't have an Earth Ultimate form with Immortal Killer on. So this is the deck I ended up making that was Earth based. It's not especially good. So I decided to try a few other decks as well. This is the Dark Commander deck from the previous event. The ultimate form has a 900% Immortal Killer bonus. So here is a Fire Slayer deck with Ray as lead from a previous event. The ultimate form here also has Immortal Killer. My Ray is quite strong, which is why I use that as well. And I finally made an experimental deck. This is 4 fire cards and 1 dark card. The idea behind this deck is that this card boosts up all the other cards. If you have a look at this, while supercharged, all Immortal Killer cards have an attack bonus of 2500%. So my idea here is to get that going and then use the other 4 cards. I'll be trying that out. So let's start fighting some bosses. I have a few good ones stacked up already. So we're going to start with the Earth deck. Let's start with a weak boss. Going to use 1 key on this. This is intended as a 2-turn deck. First turn match, and then second turn use the skills from left to right. That card there gives power gems when there's a certain amount of power gems on the board. They're doubled. That card has to be used last. It does something like that. A 2-turn deck, as you saw. I'm just going to tag the guild boss. Someone else is hitting guild bosses at the moment, so I'll tag those in between as I talk through the decks. I will go on to the guild boss strategy after I've talked about the decks and the solo boss strategy. Now, one other thing to bear in mind, other solo bosses only spawn normally after you claim a previous solo boss, so it's sometimes worth tagging just anything that appears. All these bosses were killed very quickly though. So I'll claim this one, and now I should get a few more solo bosses. Here we go. Oh, an Eternal World. There we go. I only ever tag these normally as they die so fast. If you have a really strong deck, you might be able to get something on it on the second turn. But if you watch, this boss will just get destroyed ridiculously quickly. I'm not tagging that guild boss. It's a silver boss. There's already 35 on it. I'm expecting it to die in the next few seconds. And there we go. Yeah, that pretty much happens with all the Eternal World bosses. Right, let's try the Earth deck on this. I'll use Battle Boost this time. Actually, no, I'll lock it as well, just to show how that's done in case you don't know how to do it. Locking a boss, use 1 key, immediately quit out before the first attack. That is done to stop anyone else from joining the boss. Now let's use Battle Boost and kill the boss. Shouldn't be too difficult, even though this deck's not especially good. Again, skills from left to right. Almost killed it, but then I've got the bonus attack that finishes it off. That's not bad. I'll tag this one just to make other solo bosses spawn if I need to. As long as it doesn't die immediately. So I'm going to move on to my fire deck. You might be surprised by this. Using a fire deck against water enemies. I'm going to attack that one as it appeared. That's quite decent value. Alright, so I'm going to test this out on the Inferno. I've already locked this one. That's the Dark deck. There's the Fire deck. I'm going to battle boost this. Now this has the Immortal Killer bonus, so it's actually surprisingly effective. Yeah, I was quite surprised when I first tested out this deck. The damage it actually does. Tons of power gems and just match anything. There we go. That's the damage a fire deck does against water enemies. It's actually slightly better than my earth deck, believe it or not. Right, there's a good guild boss there. I'm going to tag that one. I'm only tagging the good guild bosses at the moment. Normally I'd try and tag everything, but I'm doing solo bosses at the moment, as you can see. So that's the fire deck anyway. With one key, it's not quite as good. It's okay. I'll do a one key attack on this to show. Let's see. Yeah, it's taken off just over half. If someone else just does join the boss now, they won't be able to steal MVP, so it's alright. I might need to use another key on that though to kill it if no one else joins it. I think someone else did join it. Oh, we got a Santa up. That's worth tagging. That's actually worth more than a regular Cobalt boss, believe it or not. The trophy values are slightly strange on some of the bosses. It's always worth checking, and they're immediately killing that one, which is not really what they're supposed to do, but there's other bigger bosses up. And I will be going into guild strategy a bit later on. So that's what the fire deck does. The dark deck I'm going to move on to now. This is actually quite a bit better. This can kill in one key, but it takes 3 turns rather than 2 turns. This is a commander deck, bear in mind. So this is match anything, and then use one of the ultra rares. This gives a massive damage bonus to all the other cards. Rather annoyingly, this enemy has dodge, so this might miss now. As you see, the damage is more than enough to kill. Oh, there we go, it didn't miss. So that's actually the best deck I have for this event. Ooh, we have a Radiant up there. I'm going to battle boost this one and see if I can steal MVP. No, that's dead. I had to try. Yeah, I got 2% anyway, just from the first turn. So I guess it was worth doing. I'm going to tag the Green Eternal. That's another high value guild boss. See what else spawns. No, there's nothing. Let's try to steal one of these with this deck. Gonna try and steal it with one key only. It'll probably die instantly, but it's worth a try. The problem with this deck is you need 3 turns to get anything going, so it's a little bit slow, unfortunately. Most of the bosses just die instantly, as you can see. Another Eternal World. I'm just going to tag this. It's going to die within seconds. It might already be dead. So there's literally no point in me hitting this. Watch how quickly it dies. There we go, it's dead. Right. So I think it's time to test out the experimental deck on this big Eternal boss that I managed to get up. There we go. Now this could be interesting. Right, here we go. So the idea behind this behind this deck, should I say, is to try and get the supercharged bonus up immediately, and then use the 4 Slayer cards. So this turn, match everything. Match everything again. This is a bit slow, but if it works, it should do massive damage. Then use this card. I want to try and get rid of all the dark power gems. I'm going to do that. Now here we go. That's got the supercharged bonus active. Let's see what this does now. So it boosts up all the fire cards, and then, as you can see, that damage is actually really good. Nearly killed it in one go, but it's very slow, so it's possibly something you can consider using on guild bosses. If you do have the event deck, though, this should be extremely effective. So yeah, should have beaten it now. Yeah, that middle card just did 1.4 trillion. I could have got MVP on that boss and then rallied it out afterwards. Or rallied it to friends. Sometimes I take MVP on bosses, then rally them afterwards. This was rallied to me, so might as well tag it. Oh no, it wasn't. There's something else that was rallied. Ah, here we go. Oh, died. Okay, so let's go back to my favourite out of the decks. This is the deck I'm going to be using for most of the event. I should be able to get MVP on this. It should die quick enough so that no one else can join in and steal it. This deck has quite a lot of HP as well. and the damage immunity is really helpful. So that should be dead now. There we go, nice and easy. Did anyone else try and join in? No, no one else even joined it. There we go. Look at that, I've been pulled up to rank 5 as well from that. That was rather easy to get up to rank 5. Some decent rewards if I finish 5th. I don't actually want to finish in the top 5 though. This might sound strange, but because I am a totally free player, if I go into Legends, my rewards will actually be considerably less from each event. So I really want to finish in the 6 to 10 position. But I did kill quite a few high value solo bosses, so that's to be expected. I'll drop down anyway. Alright, so I've covered solo bosses. Now I'm going to cover the general strategy we use for guild bosses. Okay, so the strategy we use for guild bosses is to try and get 4 higher value bosses up, then kill the oldest one. We have 4 high value bosses up right now. Or should I say the most tagged boss. I'm going to kill this using my dark team. Here we go. A high value boss. This is the second day of the event. That's either an Emerald Inferno or Eternal, Onyx Inferno or Eternal, or the Cobalts. Like you can see here, this can be killed in 3 turns. Well, unless it has dodge, then it's a bit harder. Luckily this one does not have dodge though. So now I'm going to kill the new boss over and over until I get another high value boss up. Now this isn't really high value. It's only worth 3.3, so I'm going to kill this one instantly. Now keep hitting that line until something has a decent trophy value spawns, then leave it up so others in the guild can tag it, then just repeat the process. This one does have dodge though, which makes it a little bit problematic. Sometimes it will take more than 3 turns to defeat because of that. I could put a dodge counter, I guess, but I've decided not to. Let's see. Look at that, most of it missed, so... Again, I'm going to need a few more turns to defeat this one because of dodge. Now the dodge is gone, so it's easy kill. Here we go. So I'm going to keep hitting this boss over and over again until I get something decent. This might take a while. This is a 2-turn kill with my fire or earth deck. I'm going to use the earth deck for this. Here we go. Right. Let's see if I can get something decent to spawn. This might take a while. Oh dear, that's definitely not decent. That's the worst possible boss you could get. Let's get rid of that one immediately. Alright, here we go. That should be a 1-turn kill. No one even tagged that boss, which is understandable. Again, another silver boss. I'm going to clear it immediately. It's not worth keeping up at all. So hopefully something decent will spawn soon. And then once that happens, I will take out the oldest or most tagged out of the high value bosses and then just repeat the process. Again, yeah, not particularly high value. Really after a bigger Inferno or Eternal, as I mentioned near the start of this. Onyx, Emerald or Cobalt, Inferno or Eternal. I'm using Battle Boost on all of these enemies. I have plenty of keys, so that's not an issue. There we go, that's an Eternal Green, Eternal Emerald, so I'm just going to tag that one. Leave it up for others to tag as it's got decent trophy value on it. And now I can take out whichever boss has the most tags on it, so that would be the Eternal at the top. Now this is going to be quite difficult. I'm going to use my Dark Team for this. This will be the final guild boss I defeat. Again, repeat the process. Use that card to get the damage bonus. I feel kind of bad about defeating this boss, actually. Alright, use this. Use that card again. Try and keep the supercharged buff going throughout the entire battle. Otherwise I hardly do any damage at all, so I have to keep using that every other turn. It's getting through the boss reasonably quickly though. There we go, one more attack. Boss defeated, no problems. So that's the final boss I'm going to be defeating, as I've already mentioned. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope that was helpful, giving you a few ideas for teams you could use. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you want me to do any more videos on Legendary and what you want me to do the videos about. And thanks for watching.